Hey there, boys and girls of the YouTube world. Today, the Duff Dog and I are in the rollback, and we're going to head to the big city of Wahpeton, North Dakota. Another Facebook Marketplace find. This time it is a 1994 Chevrolet extended cab short bed two-wheel drive. We haven't had many extended cabs on here, but anyway, 94 I think is my favorite year of the OBSs. It's the first year of the new style grill, so it's got the good looking grill like the rollback has here that they used from 94 to 98 on the regular pickups. They obviously made Suburbans and crew cabs and 1-tons a little bit longer. I need that grill for a 97 that's in the yard that we will show at a later date, and it's got 454 SS wheels. Those wheels, I know the derby car guys are paying 75 bucks a piece, so I know there's at least $300 worth of wheels there, so we just got to figure out what to do with the rest of the $300 worth of pickup. It's already lowered. I don't know how they lowered it. The guy said it was running and driving. He said it needs some work. Like I said, 600 bucks if I get a grill out of it. I get some SS wheels. I got a good chunk of it. Maybe it's got a catalytic converter or core batteries, or it's white, so I'm hoping we could get some white body panels. I could use a hood for this and the regular cab short bed, the 1990. Those both have white hoods that are not the best. It could have good interior pieces. Of course, it's going to be extended cab, which we haven't really done any extended cab stuff. Just kidding. Sitting right there is the 1998 GMC extended cab with a 4.3 that we got to put a 4.3 Vortec motor in it or upgrade it to LS swap. But 94 is my favorite year because it's got the new style grill, but it's got the old style interior yet. 94 is my favorite year. 95 is my least favorite year because they went to the new style dash, but they don't have the airbag and they don't have the Vortec, and they have a bunch of bastard 1 year only stuff like the transmission. So anyway, let's head on up to Wahpeton. We're gonna grab that thing and then we'll probably cut to unloading it because it'll probably be dark by the time I get back, and then it'll be the next day and we'll unload that thing. All right, got this bad boy unloaded from the rollback. Let's take a little bit closer look at the exterior. My nice white hood I was hoping for is not that nice. The grill's a little bit pitted up, but she ain't too bad. It's got this white divider that I need for the 1994 wheel drive. It's missing the valance like all the lowered pickups you see. Headlights are a little hazy. Fenders are rusted out in the dog legs. What are these things? Just tiny. 165 80 15. He said they were brand new, which they look pretty good until I found the date code, and they're 2015, so they are 10-year-old tires. The rims seem pretty nice. The center caps aren't perfect, but the rims are in really good shape. Here's those new calipers he told us about. Oh, she was sold by Wes Rydell up in Grand Forks. That's one of the old metal ones. You don't see them anymore. Windshield's got some whammies in it. Whammy! Lots of them. Missing a lot of paint. It doesn't have the sexy sport mirrors, unfortunately. Interior's pretty good. Smells like smoke. It's got the nice steering wheel like I like. The shifter, she's a little sloppy. It's got the deluxe heater controls. The standard ones, they're pretty blah, but these things are getting hard to find. It's got the fancy radio with the built-in EQ and the auto reverse cassette deck. Dash pad ain't all cracked up. The mirror ain't demurred. Headliner isn't all saggy. Oh, I wish this interior was a regular cab. Guess we're gonna have to build an extended cab. One burn hole in the seat. Other than that, it's super nice. Check this out. The door panels aren't even falling off. Factory power window, power lock truck. Found the factory floor mats in the bed when I cleaned it out. We got to put the dash back together, but he said it's all here. That's headlight switches hanging out. That's just a vent, but I think that's in the back. It's a factory tilt and it ain't all loose. 264,496 miles on it. And then I think that's just for the radio, the connector there, so we'll have to hook that back up or put a different radio in it. There's a few stains in the carpet, not bad. Also, blue is not my favorite, but it's probably my second favorite. It's better than red or the tan, but gray, that's the interior you want. Back seat, I'm sure nobody's ever even ridden back here, but there's all the parts he was talking about. Ooh, even the owner's manual. Oh, there's probably 72 cents worth of change back here. It does have the 60-40 split, so we can't steal this seat and put it in a regular cab. They just don't work out. You gotta get the full bench. And you gotta find the one with the armrest. Those are the good ones. Bunch of rot in the cab corner, bunch of rot over the wheel wells, but it's actually pretty dang straight. Rear wheels are in good shape too. These Coopers, they're smoked. There's a little bit of tread left, but they need to go. Also, they got white letters out, so Blah. 235, 75, 15s on the rear. Tailgate's got this terrible band. I don't like them. That's an option. I'd prefer not to have that. It's missing the cover around that because they get sticky and then guys take them off so they can get at the linkages down there. Super common. You can still see some of the international trucks. He started doing some sanding on it. He had a body shop jacket on, so maybe he's a body guy. This side's rusty as well. It's not terrible, but it needs rockers and cab corners, unfortunately. And the dog legs, but God, this thing is so straight though. More dog leg rust, even rusty above the wheel on this side. Look at this new tire though. She's out of alignment to say the least. Bumper's even pretty good other than that whammy down there. We can maybe straighten that out a little bit, but we probably can't reattach that. Literally the only dents are in the hood, and that's the part that I wanted. Son of a biscuit. All right, put a couple quarts of transmission fluid in it. Let's see if it shifts any faster now. I just hit the brakes and it shot brake fluid all over. That's the smoke. Whoops. All the brake fluid's gone out of this reservoir, so we got a leak somewhere. Never mind that leak. I'm an idiot. Gotta love the smell of burning brake fluid in the morning. Did you identify the rear brake leak? I don't see anything around the... Oh, there it is right there. Right rear brake line. Blown out. Oh, hey, it's got a notch in it and a flip kit. That's pretty neat.
That's pretty neat.
Oh, and some shims. Terrible, terrible shims. It's okay, we don't need rear brakes. Better for burnouts. Duff says, check that transmission response. Wait for the delay, here we go. Well, not bad. Ooh, still a little slow. We'll double check that fluid, but it's a lot better than it was. Maybe the tranny's just cooked. Or maybe it's just a slow one like me. She's full. While we're checking for leaks, let's see if we can figure out what this exhaust leak is. It shouldn't be real hard. Oh, it's just killing you, isn't it? Well, it's got a catalytic converter on it. That's surprising. Well, and that's about where it ends. Figured it out. I guess I should have noticed when we were looking at the brake line and there was no tailpipe. It's almost warm enough to ride in the bed season. Windows work? Oh yeah. We even got current tag stuff, so we might not get pulled over. Cops won't know that we don't have rear brakes. That's the beauty of the dual reservoir master cylinder. You can lose the brakes on one axle and you still got brakes on the other. Probably explains why the brake light is on though. We need a brake line, and we need some exhaust. Those are some needs. I want new tires on it. Oh, they got shocks? Second, first. Feel the torque of that 305. Oh, you hate it? All right, see if it shifts. Second. Oh, how could you drive this? Third. Will it be quieter if we roll the windows up? A little bit. Fourth. There we go. Oh, there goes all the cigarette butts and leaves. I don't think there's any shocks on the back, or the front for that matter. Shocks are more of a want than a necessity though, right buddy? Yeah, they're like radios and heat and windows. Heat's probably a necessity in these parts, even though it's gonna be like in the 50s this weekend. 65 on Monday. Pretty excited about that. Roadster weather. The alignment isn't bad. Good oil pressure, temp's coming up. Speaking of temp, does the heater stuff work? Oh yeah. What a deal. If nothing else, we got some donor heater controls out of this deal. I don't know. I don't see any burn holes in the seat. Maybe he only smoked outside of the cab. Yeah, brakes need a little bit of work. AKA a line installed. Man, I think if a guy doctored up this interior a little bit, threw a windshield in it, the windshield's pretty bad. It's not like terrible, but I like good windshields. Got new wiper blades on it, Duff. Get some better tires on it. Right sized anyway on the front, and the rears are old. So yeah, throw $300-400 at tires, put a brake line on her, put some exhaust on it. We could be driving this thing. We already are driving this thing. Probably gonna need a muffler. $600 pickup, runs and drives. Oh, we had to put a battery in it, so that's like another $150. Oh, blinker doesn't cancel. Son of a biscuit. Yeah, if I'm driving this thing, it's gonna need shocks. wonder if we got a used muffler the right diameter sitting out back, huh, Duff? I thought we could graft something on there. Make ourselves a Pot County tailpipe, aka a turn down. Power steering works good. Steering column's tight. Oh, it's got the good steering wheel like I like. Yeah, this thing is full of good parts. Isn't it crazy to think that this is a 31-year-old pickup? Dang. Oh, that felt like bump stop. Power locks work? Ah, brilliant. Brilliant! The bad part is I can still hear an exhaust leak under the hood. You hear that? But you can just literally feel it vibrating through the floorboards. Duff's looking down at the floorboards like, where's that noise coming? All right, let's run this thing home, put her on the lift, fix the brake line and the exhaust, or at least look at it. See how bad it is. Maybe we'll see something underneath that we're like, no go. Pull the battery out, pull our wheels off, throw her out back in the weeds. We've been doing a lot of OBSs lately. That's why I've been dragging these things home, is because they're getting hard to find parts for. And if I can buy a whole pickup for 600 bucks and get $2,000 worth of parts, why wouldn't you? Plus we make a few bucks off the video. It's a no-brainer. We could definitely use a balance job on the wheels and tires too. Kind of feels like something's going on there. Ooh. She is spongy. Shocks. What do you think, Duff? Is there even shocks on it? I don't think there is. I think they flipped it and they didn't buy the shock extensions and their shocks would no longer work, and they just didn't put shocks back on it. For sure in the rear. In the front, I think they probably cut coils, and they should have still been able to use the stock front shocks, I think. Maybe not. I feel like it's got shocks in the front, but there's definitely none in the rear. Did you write all that stuff down that it needs? Good. All right, I gotta go to Pookie's kid's birthday party, so I'm gonna go do that, and we'll throw that thing up on the lift when we get back. Right, Duff? Right. Did you get him a gift? Of course you did. Let's get a good look at this thing. The old valance deflector is MIA. Too low. This might be the least leaky OBS power steering sector I've ever seen. That or it's out of fluid. Looks like we got a little leak coming here from the power steering pump though. Front main seal looks dry. Maybe a coolant leak coming from the lower radiator hose, but it ain't a flexi hose. Oh, they might have lowered it with lowering springs up here. Definitely aren't lowering spindles. That little pin there for the spindle, if it's at the bottom, it's a stock spindle. If it's raised up higher, it's a lowering spindle. But yeah, those coils look like they got a lot more paint on them than they should. Even the shocks maybe have been replaced too. So that's a plus. New brake calipers like you told us. Looks like we got a Wix oil filter and a rear main seal that's weeping a bit. Sure looks like our shift shaft seal on our 4L60E or 700R4 is leaking. That might be why we were a couple quarts low of transmission fluid. Donut doesn't look that great, but it ain't leaking, it appears. We do, however, have a cracked manifold, so that might be part of our exhaust leak. Starter's been replaced. Hopefully we don't have to mess with that. Yeah, she's an oily mess up there. I don't know if that's valve cover gaskets or the oil pressure sending unit leaking, but something on the back of the engine is leaking oil. Boots are torn on our upper ball joints, which is pretty common when you lower these things. It wears a different spot on the ball joints and they end up needing replaced. Lower ball joints cracked out as well in the boot. Everything seems tight though. It did drive pretty well. All right, there is the catalytic converter, and there is the extent of our exhaust. I guess it does. How did this not flop out of it? What is holding it? Looks like she got rammed in the dirt at one point. So we need a whole tailpipe and a muffler. Rear main on the transmission looks a little soggy. Might be leaking a little bit where our speedo gear comes out as well. U-joints all seem tight. That seems like the one they replaced. That looks a lot newer than the rest of them. Sure enough, no shocks. We don't need those where we're going. Attaboy, cut the park brake cables as well. Pinion seals dry. Axle seals or wheel cylinder looks like they might have been leaking a little bit. Got our 10-bolt rear. Yeah, don't worry about putting that back up there when you notch it. Spare tire hanger's still there. Exhaust hanger is torn, but it's there. Of course, somebody put some trailer wiring into it and scotch clipped her all in place, and they got some butt connectors. So I'm betting all them lights work just perfectly. So yeah, we're gonna button that up. We'll get some shock extensions and some shocks coming. Put a brake hose on it, do some exhaust, maybe fix this shim situation. Look at that, they got 2 pieces of aluminum stacked on top of each other to, I suppose, get the driveline angle correct. And then they got one on the bottom and one in the middle. And they don't have it aligned properly. That pin should be right in the center there. Wow. And you don't want these bolts hanging below your wheel. So that way if you get a flat tire, these are digging into the road, so we should probably trim them off as well. Looks like they've been blasted with quite a bit of gravel. They've been on there a while. Oh yeah, we got some shimmage over here. This is some angle aluminum. Classy. Why did they put that shim in there? Because they didn't have enough thread on the bolts? They should have just put more washers on there for silliness. Ooh, look at that. There might be a crack in that main leaf spring. Yep, definitely a crack. That's not good for business. Let's see if the center bolt lines up on this side. It appears not, but maybe that center bolt is broke out because the leaf spring's broke. So the rear end's probably not centered, I'm guessing. Good stuff. We interrupt your regularly scheduled shenanigans to bring you the one, the only, the Whistle Pig and its new owner, Mr. Stephen Phillips. What are you gonna do with this thing?
Wheelies and tickets.
Wheelies and tickets. He said he's not gonna put Krager's or white letters on it. He promised me, but he might unfortunately paint it two-tone red and silver. But to each their own, I guess.
And a big cam. Don't forget, it's got to have a big cam.
Oh, he's gonna put a big hog cam in it. We did hook him up though. We gave him a 1991 spare tire, white letters out. It's brand new, still got the blue on there and the tits. And I have probably 40 of these things, but this is the only one that's chrome and metric. So we gave him that. We gave him a jack. We gave him a get out of jail free card. We got that stuck in the window up here. So you're gonna drive her back to Vegas, huh?
Driver, yeah.
Oh man. Well, the good news is it's 33 degrees today, so yeah. It's got a good heater. All right, well, thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you for everything.
All right. Well, we're gonna send him on his way. I don't know, don't get arrested. Easy on the wheelies. Don't call you. I wanna know the guy who gets pulled. What'd you get pulled over for? Exhibition driving, what's that? Yeah, I did a wheelie. You know how to start that thing? I was just gonna say, now it won't start. Click, click, click. Duff. There she goes. Off to Vegas. Are you sad it's leaving, Duff? Oh boy, look at what we found out in the North 40. 91 two-wheel drive, regular cab. Schlong box. Was a 4.3 and a 5-speed. Somebody wanted that stuff out of it. And we got it dirt cheap, and I think I stole the seat out of it. It's the only thing I've taken out of it. Otherwise, the previous owner got the cluster and, ooh, little mouse house going on behind our heater controls and radio. Anywho, Chin and I were talking about putting those wheels on there, but no go. The caps on these are black though. So maybe some black caps would offset these. Who knows? But it appears it's got a 4-pack of leaf springs. It's got shocks on it and some flat tires we should fix while we got it in here, and it should have a brake line. So let's steal stuff. Oh, and it's got a stock style rear bumper we can steal. That's really not that bad. It's got a little hooey there and it's missing the license plate lights. But other than that, good enough for the girls we go with. It's kind of nice tailgate, but it's the wrong color. And I'm classy like that. I like my panels to match. I'd rather have a banged up rusty panel than a mismatched one. I don't know. I'm weird like that. So anyway, let's get to stripping. Just kidding. I'm gonna keep the buttons on my flannel that I got at mortske.com. Let's lift this thing up in the air and steal some parts. Well, 2 of the tires don't hold air on the pickup, but the spare does. So we're gonna have to swap that on here somewhere. It's got the same 10 bolts. Our brake line should be the same. These U-bolts are pretty rusty. It'll be fun getting those loose. Hopefully the leaf springs aren't cracked. Looks like they're in okay shape. was hoping we could use the exhaust, but I think it's just gonna be good enough for a pattern. Little kink going on at the hanger there, and she's pretty rotten right there. But we'll get some shocks as well, and the hardware, because the hardware is missing as well. I don't know what else we're gonna get here. This thing's really crusty on the frame rails. Brake line rotted out, so somebody fixed her with a compression fitting. Gross.
Ew.
Maybe we can salvage the muffler and hanger and this transition piece as well. If nothing else, it'll be a pattern. All right, let's get to it. Oh man, we're super hacks now. Look at that shock. And look at how long it's been banging against the base there. That whole lip is curled up. Oh man, she's slopped out. Oh well, it'll fill a hole until we get new ones. Yeah, this thing is so scaly under here. The bottom of ours looks way better. All right, just wanted to show you that shock. Back to work. So this is the part that sucks about leaf springs. One of the many parts that sucks about leaf springs is there's this bolt that goes through a bushing, and so there's a rubber bushing with a steel sleeve in it. And the bolt is metal, and the sleeve is metal, both being steel. They rust together. So now the bolt doesn't want to spin. And how you get the bolt to spin without having that rubber spin, or the metal spin inside the rubber, it's no fun. You've been there. It's not a good time. Here we go. And you really can't heat it up. There we go. Yep, that's definitely rubber spinning. Son of a biscuit. How are we gonna get that bolt out of that bushing? Cheese and rice. And if it wasn't the main leaf that was busted in half, we could take one of these 3 other leaves and just put a new bolt in the center bolt for the leaf spring pack and swap them out. But since it's the main leaf, we gotta get this leaf out of here. And I'm sure the bolt on the other end is gonna do it. We could torch it out of there and press it out if we had new bushings, but we don't have new bushings. Super. I don't like that, but we'll give it a whirl. Not enough room to hit her with the old air hammer. This box side isn't that good. She's going. Had a pretty good Ingersoll Rand air hammer. This Astro pneumatic, Watch West Work mentioned in one of his videos. That thing don't hold a candle to this. This thing is one bad mother trucker. I'll put the link in the video description. Get yourself one. You won't regret it. It don't persuade, it makes things happen. It don't take no for an answer. Bada bing, bada boom. Nobody's got the other side. Oh, one leaf spring. Ready to go. Dang it, the sleeve won't slide off. I was gonna say, just rebuilt it. Oh, that is probably one of the worst shocks I've ever seen. There's just nothing in there. Seals have been gone for many a decade. It's a good time to quit. I don't know how warm it's gonna be tomorrow. Well, Chin says it's gonna be a high of 40, so I'm gonna go enjoy some roadster weather. Even though it's super windy, winds switched from being out of the west to now it's straight out of the north, so it's gonna go from 65 to 40 because of Canuckastani air that's coming down here. So thanks for that, DD Speed Shop and Brent over at Half-Ass Customs. But anyway, I think I'm just gonna make a brake line. I'm gonna think about it. It's probably not worth the time taking it off. And obviously this thing's had rusty brake lines before, and it's way rustier than that pickup, so that one's just a ticking time bomb. Also, I'm gonna measure the fuel tank on this because This is a long bed. I think you could get like a 35-gallon fuel tank on these. Anyway, the rollback has a 20-gallon tank. 1-ton heavy-duty, long wheelbase chassis, factory 454, and 20-gallon tank. 5 miles a gallon, so you do the math. If I can put a 35-gallon tank in, I can go almost twice as far, so maybe we'll take a look at swapping this out of there. We'll see. She looks like a big dog. We'll do some measuring. Length times width times height in inches. Divide that by 231. Converts your cubic inches to gallons. The more you know. Tank's not perfectly rectangular. I guesstimated about 29 gallons. So that is still, what, a 50% increase in fuel capacity. So I'll try to sneak that fuel tank out of there. In the meantime, let's get a leaf spring swapped out on the extended cab. Hopefully this hardware comes out a little bit better because I don't feel like caving the box sides in or out in order to get the hardware out so that I can get an air hammer in there. And I'm not going to pull the bed off. Also, we should probably move the lift so that it's not at the front of the leaf spring that we need to remove. Strong little jack stand. Perfect. Tech tip of the day. You don't want to be able to take your spring pack apart in 2 pieces like so. Tech tip of the day, put it back together the way you took it apart. I took it out, front first, back last, and then put it together front first, back last, and it wouldn't go in there. And also, watch out for springs, they'll bite you. Somebody might get lucky and get a chunk of skin in their order with their merch at mortske.com. Just kidding, you don't want my DNA. But the spring saga continues. I'm kind of glad, but also not glad I dropped that thing. I'm not glad because it hurt my finger. I'm glad because I found out that spring's busted. Saw something shoot across the floor, more on that later. You notice something here? That's the spring eye, or the eyelet. She's MIA on the back of this main spring, but it's there on the front one. And she'd been busted for a while. See all that rust in there? Yeah, that ain't fresh. The rust was probably holding it together. Also, there's that metal sleeve I was referring to previously inside of that rubber bushing that likes to spin. So we got 2 busted leaf springs. You can see just how much crustier our parts truck is than our good truck. And I would buy a new main leaf, but they're not cheap. Springs are muy expensive, and we're on a budget here, $600 truck. And it's probably gonna be, you know, a week or 2 before it gets here. And we ain't got time for that.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
Maybe let's go look at the other side, see just how bad that side is. Does it look like it's rusted and about ready to break in half? No. It really sucks we spent all that time taking that thing out just to find out it's no good. But that's what happens with used parts. The crappy part is, new parts, springs probably aren't so bad, but fuel sending units. I think I've had 3 of them, at least 3 in the last year. The 92 is the latest culprit. Brand new sending units, fuel pumps, assemblies, whatever you want to target. Bad sending unit. It's 3 of them. I bought the Oklahoma Lullaby from Puddin.
Pickup's gone.
Oh.
The hose. That's what you don't want.
Put a new one in there in Oklahoma. First tank of gas, it worked. Second tank of gas, no go. That was a brand new O'Reilly's fuel pump and sending unit. Didn't even make it 2 tanks of gas. And now the gauge is not working. It's sitting on E and I just filled her up. So I couldn't tell you what we're getting for mileage, how bad it is. One of the 92 made it about 4 tanks of gas. I don't remember what the other one was, but we've had a bunch of them lately. Parts quality is terrible. Dang it, things were going so well until I smashed my finger on a spring again.
Ow!
And hopefully this one isn't gonna take us to ER. It won't, but now we gotta tear another side of that pickup apart, and then we gotta put 2 sides back together just to make it roll to get it back out of here. Well, at least we're practiced up. This one came out here pretty good, except for I got the air hammer on this thing and it took no for an answer. I could not get this thing to budge. It's the bushing is spinning inside of the other bushing. So we just tipped it down and took it out there. But that's the problem, is you got to put the bolt in from the opposite direction. If you put it that way, the head of the bolt or the end of the bolt through the nut will hit on this hanger, and you don't want that. So yeah, that's why I was taking it apart, and that's where I dropped it and figured out it's busted. Yay me. What a great start to the day. Also, it looks like the spring that was in this pickup has been busted for a long time, and they probably noticed it when they did the flip kit. If we just had a nice main leaf laying around here, we could just swap it out and carry on with our lives. That'll make your butthole pucker.
Oh, that one puckered up my butthole.
All right, that didn't go so bad. Let's get the fuel tank out of this thing in the bumper and get it out of here. I really hate making them so they don't roll anymore, but I don't know how we're gonna make it roll again with that leaf eye busted off, short of welding some brackets in here to mount the rear end solid. And not a lot to weld to with all this rust. But anyway, this leaf spring, I dropped it on the floor over there on purpose, and it didn't fly apart. So I think we're good to go. We finally got a good leaf spring to put in. And when we haul this thing in for scrap, it's gonna be a lot less money, Duff, because of all the rust on the ground from the jackhammering, eh? Now, one thing with leaf springs, usually you want to swap them as pairs, because if you put one new one on one side, it's gonna probably sit higher. If you steal one out of another truck, who knows what kind of loads that thing hauled or mileage or whatever. Odds are it's not going to sit level, but we'll see. We're kind of in a debacle here. I do have one more pickup out back, the 95 extended cab four-wheel drive that we stole all the parts out of for the 90 regular cab that we swapped over. And that's a 4x4, and the leaf springs appear to be the same. And they were in way better shape than these. And that pickup is stripped just about clean, but we keep hanging on to it because scrap is worth nothing. But it's buried in the back in mud. Like, I almost got the Bobcat stuck getting it out. So we're really gonna have to run up the yard to get it out. And I didn't want to do that. So that's what we might have to do, is steal the springs out of that thing to make that thing a roller. And then that pickup can probably go to scrap. But we just it's the gift that keeps on giving, the rollover. Those look like they're gonna interchange, Duff. I hope so. Still gotta knock that hanger off the back, and we should be good to go. But the old Astro Pneumatic air hammer, not a paid promotion, has been the MVP of this project. Also, shout out to Mortske Repair, mortske.com, and these flannels. Super nice for keeping the rust out of my belly button and everywhere else. I like these flannels. They're my go-to in this climate that we got going on right now. Spring and fall and winter. Summer, they're too hot. I don't know. I'll let you know when summer comes. Chin likes them year-round. He's a weird guy, though. Editor people. Look at that bougie bed. Just gonna watch us work. All right, better go see what Mojo's up to. How the 403's coming. Oh, you're gonna come check too? You got her all stripped. You've been stripping for money.
Yes.
Looks like you got some manifolds and a fuel pump to pull off and a distributor, and be ready to do some pressure washing. You'll be an Olds man in no time.
Yeah.
Had a breakthrough. Remember how the U-bolts were too long? One took through my stash. This is for a square body kit. And most axles are a 3-inch diameter. And this is what was in there. I was like, man, the rear end can't be an inch wider, half-inch wider than a square body between a OBS and a square body. And you can tell these are the correct length. So check this out. Your U-bolt should be tight to the diameter of your differential. So it sits like so. Here's what's on there. Another issue is they had too long of bolts, so the thread stopped here, so they were taking those shims in there to take up the slack in the hardware. So let's just basically throw a whole new flip kit in there, because I'm guessing that block that goes underneath the rear end is also the wrong diameter. Like I said, the bolts hung down too far, so if you ever got a flat tire, they're gonna ding out. Let's just put a whole new flip kit in here. Swap this one out. We'll get the right length bolts. We'll get the right diameter bolts. We'll get the right clamps that go with said diameter bolts, and you'll get the right saddles that hold the rear end that are the right diameter. Hopefully hold it in place and we don't have that pinion angle issue, whatever. Who knows? That might have caused the leaf spring to break. I don't know, because it was loose flopping around in there. I doubt it, but there's a possibility of it. Anyway, make sure you're using the right stuff. And the more you know. Now I only got to have one flip kit on hand. One for square bodies and one for OBS is what I thought I have, but they're all the same now. Guess I better order another one for what I was going to use this for. Actually, I got that 67 GMC out back that I snuck in the square body chop top video. That's what this was going in, so I'm gonna have to order another one for that. I got a 97 short bed. Stay tuned. We're gonna lower that thing, and there's probably something else in the yard, but anyway, that's why I keep them on hand, because I got trucks that need lowered. They all need lowered. Everyone that drives by. People. There's what you should have. See how it's 1/4 inch narrower? Yeah. I think this is for a 3-inch axle too. This is for like a 3 1/4 or 3 1/2. I could measure, but I'm guessing this is for like a 3/4 or a 1 ton, like a Dana 60 or a 14 bolt corporate. I don't know. Anyway, let's put this guy in there. This has got 2 holes, so you can center it or you can offset it the way it needs to be. This one, it's only got the offset, which it needs to be offset anyway. Oh, it's gonna love its life so much more. You can never remember which way to offset. It's gotta be offset back to the rear. Let's trim that park brake cable off a little bit more. Better fuel mileage. Looks like the other side was already trimmed high and tight. Very nice.
Really nice. Huh?
I'll show you the next debacle. The old saddle is a little bit too wide. Get my super scraper pointer here. It's a little bit too wide to fit in between the saddle on the rear end, so we're gonna shave that down a little bit on each side. Same thing on the rear. And that could be my crappy eBay flip kit too. Maybe it doesn't fit 88 to 98s, or maybe it's just a crappy flip kit. But I think the 88 to 98s are narrower. The square bodies are wider, it seems like, where that saddle sits. Who knows? No doubt some expert will comment down below. Much better. Look, it also came in that kit. Shock extensions. And shockingly enough, I think we'll be able to make it work on an OBS. The only thing is, there's a bolt hole back here that clamps it in place so it can't rotate. And where that lines up, there's nothing to bolt it to, so we'll have to figure something else out. We can either drill it down here or add another bolt hole up there. We'll do something. Make it work. That turned out pretty good. Look at that. Correct length. The washers are a little bit big. They get into this bend. They should have had this bend a little bit further out. But other than that, that's a nice piece. Perfect length. U-bolts. It's the right width. They're the right diameter. Everything is okay. Now we just got to do the driver's side. And shocks. And a brake line. And center pinion angle. That's one thing I don't like, is these things should sit up in here to set your pinion angle so that this can't rotate back and forth. You clamp it well enough, it's not gonna rotate. Well, let's be honest, we probably got 308 gears, maybe 342s. We got a 235 tire, a 305 come alive, and a 700 R4.
305, come alive!
We don't have a big block with a stall converter and a trans brake and a 2-speed power glide that we're jumping Coke cans with, so I don't think the diff's gonna rotate anyway. In a perfect world, you would clean the diff up, set your pinion angle, and weld this on there, and forget about those blocks up there, but it's not perfect around here. Nothing's perfect around here. Well, I got all the tools out. I'm gonna go ahead and swap out the flip kit on the driver's side as well. Oh, check this out. It looks way better. We'll get her on the ground, get some weight on it, get the ride height set with the new wheels and tires or whatever we end up putting on here, and we'll double check our pinion angle, set it if we need to, and everything should be good to go. Way better. Nice and tight to the leaf springs, nice and tight to the radius of the rear end. We got a clamp that holds it in place and actually uses the leaf spring centering pin. Huge improvements. I think that's part of the reason why people bash lowered vehicles, is because hacks like this. This wasn't even the worst hackery. I've seen way worse. But anyway, if you're lowering something, get the right kit, or get the right U-bolts bent up, or fabricate the right parts, whatever you gotta do. Don't shim it with little scab chunks of aluminum and use way oversized U-bolts and all that stuff. Do it right. It's your suspension, it's your drivetrain, it's, at the end of the day, it's your life. If something falls loose on this rear end, you're gonna go in and do an uncontrollable skid or rip your brake line off or who knows what, but anyway, what I'm saying is make sure your ride is safe. Would this thing have flown apart going down the road? Maybe with that leaf spring. I don't know, but don't be a hack. Leave that to the professionals like DD Speed Shop. Okay, I'm gonna take this brake line off and make a new one. Got some 3/16 line. We're gonna use this as a pattern to bend her all up, and then we're gonna cut the ends off of this guy, and we're gonna slide them onto here. Hopefully, not forget to do that before we flare the ends, and throw her all back together. There we go. Hopefully that fixes our brake leaks. All right, since we're already fixing a botched up flip job, let's fix up a botched up notch job. Try saying that 10 times fast. The old botch notch. See these bolts here? Oh, look at that. That one's missing a washer, but the other one's all got washers. Anyway, there should be a bolt there and one there. And on the other side, they didn't drill, I think this one and this one. Anyway, we're gonna drill these out, put bolts in them. And also there's ones on the bottom that they forgot to do. And these are pretty critical down here. That's where you get all your strength, is in that C-chuck. We missed the one on the back as well. That also holds your spare tire bracket, so we'll try to get that in there at the same time as well. Same deal on this side, both the bottom ones. And we should drill a hole for this brake line bracket. And it looks like either when they cut it out or when they drilled the hole, they got into the taillight harness, so that's fixed nicely. And maybe we can eliminate this silly zip tie and tie up the wiring a little bit better. Start drilling these ones on the driver's side. Gonna get creative and use the stand here to make a drill press. Shock extensions are on. I got them clamped tight enough. I don't think they're gonna rotate. We'll keep an eye on it. If we see wear marks, shiny spots where they're rotating back and forth with the shocks, then we'll have to drill a hole and pin them so that they can't rotate, but I ain't worried about it. Also check the diff. Full of oil, which I'm not surprised because it doesn't look wet on the axle seals or the pinion seals, so yay, saved ourselves 12 cents at 80/90 there. Now we gotta work on exhaust. I set what came off that pickup up here and I'm not happy with it, but anyway, we're gonna unbolt this junction here and hopefully get a chunk of 3-inch tubing welded back to this again and go from there. Oh, of course it's studs, so we can't just torch them off. Dang it. I'm exhausted, just kidding. It's Well, I mean, I am, but this thing is not exhausted yet. Let me show you what we got going thus far. So this pipe was the pipe that was just hanging back there, flopping around, and I took this connection loose and we welded it to it. And yeah, that's about as far as we got. So I moved the noise from here 3 feet back to here. The cool thing is though, this is now resting on this cross member, and we got an air gap below this cross member. So it's not hanging on that anymore, right? Now if we get a muffler on here and we get a hanger hooked up, we can maybe get it off this cross member, and we can maybe put a Oklahoma tailpipe on it, aka a turn down, and it'll be a lot quieter. I also got the chunks of pipe off of the muffler, off of our donor pickup, so hopefully we can make something work on there. I think this is 2.5 and that's 3-inch, so we're gonna have to take a 2.5-inch chunk of pipe, flare it up to 3-inch to put on there to make it work. Wish me luck. I lied. That muffler's 2.5, and the pipe that goes between it that comes off the pickup is 2 3/4. And of course, I got no 2 3/4 dies or expanders, so I'm gonna have to use the little adjustable one. Expand this up to 2 3/4. All right, just like so. We got that connection made. Obviously, this slides right inside our muffler, so let's cut this to length and get our muffler up there, and then onto our tailpipe. Now we just gotta clean our old hanger up and get that on there somehow. Think we can do that? Oh yeah. That's hot. This time this bad boy's had a muffler on it, and who knows how long. There we go. It's a offset inlet center outlet muffler. That should work pretty good if we get our pipe to come out right here. And then we just put a little another hook-de-doo on there if I can find one to hang it. Call it good for now. So I need to find a hook-de-doo and bend up some pipe. Oh, is this long enough to sneak it over the rear axle? Oh, it is. It's gonna be good. Oh, except for it's not 2.5, it's 2 1/4, which is fine for silliness. So it's a 2.5 inlet, 2 1/4 outlet. For Pete's sake. There we go, there's our hoop-de-doo. All right, gotta straighten that out a bit and knock her in, and then we should be good to go back there. Oh yeah, we gotta weld it, clamp it, all that stuff. Stay. But we're getting rid of cars today. 35 Ford Coupe's going to Lake Preston, South Dakota. He's ready to load her up. White trailer. You don't see many white trailers. All right, he said he had her under control. I said, give me a holler if you need some help. So, let's get this thing wrapped up. Oh, way better. All right, there you go. I think that's a wrap. I might trim that off just so it ain't so ugly, but I don't think it's going anywhere. Oh yeah, real solid. That's twice as many hangers as any Oklahoma exhaust job I ever seen. You better give that gentleman a screwed by Mortske repair screwdriver and a decal pack. I saw this trailer had a winch, but he mentioned a come along, and I just thought, oh, he's calling his winch come along. But anyway, he was dragging a come along out, so I said, no, let's get Bernie out. Winched around with Bernie, made his life a whole lot easier. He said, yeah, that was slick. Oh, that's the rollback I need, late model Ford. Oh, Bernie. The real MVP around here. Should have DB give this thing a bath, get her shined up for spring. Back to work. We got the brakes fixed. We got the rear suspension a lot better. Still need shocks. Chin picked some up at O'Reilly's the other day. He's in Fargo doing family things. Anyway, 70 bucks a piece. They're like 26. Then they're, I don't know, what brand are they? Rock Auto Monroe's are 26. I understand you got to pay shipping, but dang, Master Pros. Chin literally asked the first thing he says, "Is you got anything cheaper?" He says, "No." He says, "What color are they?" The guy said black. He said, "Perfect." $150 worth of shocks on our $600 pickup, though. Craziness. That's what happens when your birch rig's got junk shocks on them too. But yeah, this thing's gonna be quieter, ride better, stop better. It's gonna be all around better. You can see I didn't put the dump right on the rear end. Plus, as we get weight on it, that rear end's gonna go up. You don't want that. Putting heat into your pinion or anywhere in there. Get it away from the rear end. It's best to get it out, but I don't want to bend up a tailpipe and not knowing if this muffler is even any good. I'm sure it'll be just fine. Usually if they ain't rotted out, they're fine. And guess what? It's gotta be better than what we took off. Did we even take anything off? It was already off. Guess what, guys? Spring is just around the corner. Dad jokes. All right, I want to get the bumper off the back of this thing because if we don't get the rear end back in it, we're going to be shoving it around and it's going to bang up that bumper. So let's get that off of this one and see how that goes. And if it goes okay, then we'll steal the bumper off the good pickup. Is it bad that I probably paid almost as much for this parts pickup as I did for the good pickup? Anyway, bumper is gooder. Let's get her off. All right, here we go. I mean, my vertebrae. What's the problem? Found it. What a silly design, Chevrolet. So here's our bumper bracket, and here's the lip on the back side of the bed, and you can see it's running into it right there. That's what's preventing us from sliding off. Both sides, of course. So either got to cut that, or lift the bed off, or take that bracket off of the bumper. I wonder if these guys want to come out. Maybe that'll be the easiest thing to do. We'll give that a whirl, I guess. Here we go, bumper removal attempt number 2. Just kidding, we took 94 different takes and I forgot bolts and all that stuff. Come on, what kind of hack do you think I am? There we go. Money. Here's where it's gotta go. Nothing to it. Duff says the only thing that looks worse than no bumper is a roll pan. Now we have to take that tailgate off there so we don't bang that up shoving it around. Why don't you go ahead and put those springs back under there so that we can roll this around. Or we should just weld the diff right to the frame. Make our tail dragger on, Duff? Yeah. All right, there you go, nothing to it. It's not an amazing bumper, but it's better than a rusty tow bumper. All right, let's get this piece of scrap iron off the back of this other piece of scrap iron. I think we're gonna get rid of the trailer wire, unfortunately. But this one's gonna be heavier. Scratch the pin. What's going on? Ah, cheese and rice. There we go. I'll take all the bolts off now. Oh yeah, that big boy, she's a little heavier. Look at this wiring conundrum. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Scotch locks right there, along with 4 butt connectors. Well, wait, there's more.
But wait, there's more.
There's 5 more electrical guillotines here, another butt connector, and then a couple of bare wires. What are the odds these lights work? Probably not very good. Hopefully these bumper brackets are the same, because this is a short bed and that was a long bed. Oh yeah, way better. Not near as rusty. Doesn't have that silly drop into it. We gotta find a license plate light, and this one's missing the cover, so. And then we gotta wire them up too. But anyway, it's a lot better than it was. Even swapped out the old license plate. This is 3 County, which is Brown County, which is Aberdeen, South Dakota. What is she? June of 2016 this bad boy expired, so almost 9 years ago. Anyway, I autographed this son of a gun. We're gonna throw it in with the mail, and somebody who orders a t-shirt in the next week. The dates listed below, because I'm not good with dates, hence why I never get any dates. But anyway, go to mortske.com, get yourself a shirt, get yourself a flannel. These things are real good. But we got t-shirts, we got sweatshirts, we got crew necks, we got hoodies, all that stuff. So head on over to mortske.com, and somebody is gonna get an autographed license plate for their collection. All right, let's throw some overpriced, made in China shocks on this baby. Shock absorbers. They're not French, they're Chinese. What do we got here? A GM 103, distributed by Ozark Automotive in Springfield, Missouri. Master Pro, gas charge shock absorber. I'm gonna be so upset if I open this up and they're blue or yellow or something. Pay 150 bucks and they're not the color I want. Oh. The only color they should make shocks, black. Pew! These are some bad boys. They're some hogs. These are way heavier duty than the ones we took off that one. Anyway, got some new hardware, 5/16 with whiz nuts to hold them up there. We're gonna use the old hardware on the bottom. Caution, contains nitrogen. Do not open or heat. Noted. Oh yeah, I've definitely hit these with the torch and poked a hole in them. I know what happens. It's flammable too, right? I feel like it is. Let's start with the easy one to get at. And then let's drop the nut on the floor. I'm sure you guys and gals all know, but I like the whiz nuts, the serrated flanged locking nut, because you just tighten it from the bottom and this is like a wrench for you. It just hangs on for dear life without having to use 2 hands. Because I'm lazy. Overkill. Nothing but the finest for my $150 Master Pro shocks. Now watch this, hit them with the buzz gun. No wrench required. Here's our old hardware on the bottom. Oh boy. Hopefully these ain't too short. They shouldn't be. I'll be real mad if they're too short and expensive. Are our extensions not drilled properly? Ow! I think what happened was they lasered the holes and then bent the part, and now they're no longer in line. What the French? Go to your home. Do you know where your home is?
Why didn't you just go home? That's your home! Are you too good for your home? Answer me!
Well, since these don't come with a whiz nut, I gotta use a wrench. Alrighty, let's do the other one. Guess we gotta widen this one out a little bit. What are you doing? Sneaking out early to go grind valves? Yeah. Cripes. Alright, so that means you're gonna show up late tomorrow.
Well, maybe. You never know. Right?
Alright.
I'll be here when I get.
You'll be here when you get here.
Yeah.
There you go, shock install complete. You know, so I said install instead of replacement because we didn't replace them. They didn't exist. Had the shock delete option. Real classy. I think we can bleed the rear brakes here and we'll be ready to go for a test drive. You wanna go pump some brakes so that we can go for an RIDE? That'd be great. Or put those springs and bumper back on that pickup so we can get it out here, or not. All right, attempted to bleed the brakes myself. I don't know, we'll see. Not a believer in brake bleeding. I like it the old fashioned way where you get somebody to help you, because that's what works for me. Lights, we got no license plate lights. I knew that. We got tail lights, surprisingly. How about marker lights and the headlights? I'll be son of a gun. We got both marker lights, both headlights. Oh, That one ain't lit up over here, is it? Is that the one you gotta pull the grill out to get at? I'm not pulling the grill out. We're just gonna live with it. I want some high beams and blinkers. The lights in the cluster are working. High beam. Indicator's working. Wish you could at least run the selector, go from high beam and low beam. You're a lot of help, bud. Yep, those are working too. How about blinkers? You don't need thumbs for that. Big stretch. Maybe had a small spill when we were bleeding brakes, didn't we, Duff?
One of the worst oil spills in U.S. history.
Be a lot nicer if that was mounted. Horn? Heck yeah. Where's the hazards? On the side of these bad boys? Oh yeah, right there. Says they're working up there. Oh yeah. 2 for 2. 4 for 4. Check out this neat plug. That's not your regular 110 hybrid. This thing's, she's a 220. She's a high class hybrid. That's for plugging into your AC unit at the rental apartment you live in, I think. Plug it right into the wall. Never really showed you underneath the hood of this thing, so I guess I'll give you a quick tour. Not much to show. Only thing I've done under here, other than swapping a battery in it, because the one that he gave me was dead. Shout out to Papa Zane, our battery sponsor this week. Papa Zane is actually Steve Phillips. He is the gentleman who won the Whistle Pig. He won it off of sponsoring this actual battery, so lucky him. You too can be a battery sponsor at mortske.com, but you can't win a vehicle currently because we're not giving one away at the moment. But shout out to everybody who was a battery sponsor during a giveaway as well. We're gonna get caught up with those. We got a list of them. You're coming, don't worry. Anyway, all I've done under here, transmission shifted a little bit slow, going from park to reverse to drive, so I put probably about 2.5, 3 quarts of transmission fluid in. And it was low on brake fluid right when we got it. Of course, that was the leaky brake line. This plug was not connected. I believe that was for the AC clutch. I plugged that in, so hopefully that works. I wasn't making any funny noise. I haven't tried it. The clutch isn't seized up. Coolant was good. Engine oil, we should probably check. He set it at a fresh oil change. Oh yeah, we're within the operating range. So when I pulled up to pick this thing up, I was at Econo Foods. It's a grocery store. I was probably waiting there for 10, 15 minutes. I guess he was looking for the keys. He lost them. But anyway, he pulled up with this thing. It was running. He said, we can't shut it off because it won't start. I had to boost it. I said, no big deal. It had a red top Optima in here, so we got a core. Actually, it's only 2 years old, so we're going to see if that baby will charge up. And the other core battery that was in the back, DT78, well, not a DT78, but a Group 78 Interstate, was 4 years old, so maybe those will charge up. If not, we got 2 core batteries to trade in on some new battery sponsors. But anyway, he's like, he had to open the hood and show me, and I'm like, I just want to get out of here. He's like, it's got 1,000 miles in the oil change, and it's got new plug wires, and he's telling me the stuff that he did, new brakes up front, and all that stuff. And I'm like, literally don't care. He's telling me about the parts for the dasher in the back seat. I was like, I want to go to Dairy Queen, get some ice cream, and get the French out of here. But anyway, yeah, she's a 50305. Still got all the emissions. It's missing the rubber insulators that go between the upper control arms and the inner fender. These things do have ABS, it appears, but no airbags in 94. Washer fluid tank's even full of the good purple stuff, it looks like. She's got cruise control. I have no idea what that is. I presume it's a relay for the 4L60E. Wipers. Air cleaner lid hasn't been flipped upside down or painted. It's got that fuse relay center cover, which is missing a lot. That's the other thing he told me about this under hood light. He says it even works. Well, we better check. He was lying to me. Oh, it does work. You gotta pull it out to turn it on. Anyway, these things are pretty cool. I don't know how you work them, but well, now I gotta show you. Anyway, you can, yeah, that's the latch. Peel this baby out. If you don't have yourself a Streamlight, you just reach out with this guy, flip the switch. Where's the switch? And you can do all kinds of engine bay work with your fancy little light. He claims these things never work, but I guess I never really check them. And then you grab the old OBS fishing reel and whoop, reel her on in. Flip the latch so it can't pop out, turn her off, good to go. Yeah, I like how complete this thing is. It's got the original air box, all the adapters and stuff, all the AC stuff is there. Hasn't been messed with. He was real proud of those 8mm yellow plug wires. Looks like he put some new Delco plugs in too. Attaboy. While we're in here, let's check the air filter, seeing as how, you know, it works so dang good. We're married to this thing now with $150 worth of shocks on it. Come on now. Oh, brand new. I don't know who sells green air filters, but that's what it is. Walmart special, made in China. MSA 81055. Cool. Power steering sector wasn't leaking like they all seem to be doing. Since we're checking everything, let's check the power steering as well. Seemed like it was working. Didn't seem like it was leaking either. She's on the stick, good enough. I'm not gonna put any in there because I'll spill it everywhere. I spill these every single time. What's that zip tie holding? Oh, this vacuum line for emissions stuff. How's our serpentine belt look? Good shape. That's actually new. Ooh, that water pump looks newer. I wouldn't say it's new, but it's got fresher black paint than the rest of the engine. Looks like our thermostat housing might be leaking a little bit, or is it the intake gasket? Or is it the valve cover gaskets running down the front of the head? Oh yeah, it's all the way down the back. It's the valve cover gaskets leaking. That might be why the back of the engine and the transmission are so oily. How about this side? Doesn't look as moist, but it's definitely wet. Probably need a set of those. What's this guy for? Doesn't look like it's been plugged in for a while, so we won't worry about that little guy.
Oh, that little guy. I wouldn't worry about that little guy.
Oh, that's the other thing. These heater connections like to snap off. Everybody knows they're made of some pewter pop metal, and then the replacements are actual steel. Can't see if this one's been replaced. It looks pretty dirty, so if it was replaced, it was a very long time ago. There you have it. There is the underhood tour of the throttle body injected 5-liter. Rolling down the street in my 5.0. No, hey, that's rolling down the street in my 6.4 with the rag top down so the hair can, with the rag top down so my hair can flow. Girlie's on standby waiting to say hi. Did you stop? No, I just drove by. Anyway, no more singing. Rolling in my 5.0 with the rag top down so my hair can flow. Yeah, there it is. Vanilla Ice. Took me a second. I'm not that bad of a... Yeah, I am a bad singer. Terrible. I just noticed this. Titan Machinery. Vehicle ID number. This is the second quit door. Also, door pins are shot. Real shot. The transmission overdrive range, OD, should not be used for towing a trailer, carrying a heavy load, driving on a steep hills, or off-road. That's right. Big towing machine. 305 overdrive, half-ton, two-wheel drive. Good stuff. Anyway, back to the company vehicle, that 98 we got out here. That thing's an extended cab, and that was also Interstate Engineering. That had that logo in the back window, so both of our extended cabs were fleet vehicles. Door pins, add it to the list. You can still read Case IH on the side. Got our bed pretty much all cleaned out. It's a few cigarette butts in here, and by a few, a lot. Found the jack, the tire iron, and all the accompanying stuff for that. Found a X-wrench, whatever you call it, tire iron. A couple of road cones, some chain. One of them had a hook, single hook, not two hooks. That would be like gold, winning the lottery. Hammer with a fiberglass handle. The head's a little bit loose, so that's kind of scary. That went in the trash so that the head doesn't go flying off and into something expensive around here. And a whole lot of scrap. Oh, there's some flat metal in there that we'll use for fabricating something at some point, or it'll be here for scrap at my auction sale. But a lot of garbage, a lot of trash, some scrap iron. There were some rotors from, I assume, when they did this thing. Some CV axles was not from this thing. A lot of junk. Bed floor is in surprisingly good shape. And since the interior is so nice, we think that this wasn't like a service truck or a parts runner. This was probably a salesman's pickup. That's why she's so nice. The bed ain't beat up, and the inside's well taken care of. Did you see how our new exhaust job sounds? And our shocks ride and all that good stuff? Let's see if it even starts. Ah, we didn't fix the brake light. I think I gotta do some more bleeding. Look at that, cold, 60 PSI oil pressure, all of it. He gave us a half tank of gas. What a deal. Looks like it's charging. Tax speedo, everything's working. And listen to how much quieter it is. Oh, it's so good. I don't know how people can drive stuff like this. Real good. I did want to throw some different wheels and tires on it, but we got an alignment set up for Monday, which is when the video will come out, so we'll have to see how it goes then, and maybe they'll find some worn out parts. But here's what I was gonna put. I picked up these rallies for $100. I don't like rallies, but they're dual bolt pattern. I was excited about that because they'll fit on anything for rollers. I thought they'd be 4.5 and 4 3/4. No, they're 5-inch and 5 on 5.5. So they'll fit like Ford pickups, Chevy pickups, full size like Impalas, two-wheel drive Chevy pickups. Anyway, so I was gonna throw these on there, but I put brand new tires on these bad boys. 255/70 15s on the rear and 235/60s for the front. But I'm not gonna put these on there and chew them up driving this thing around until it's aligned. Oh yeah, they came with caps too. No beauty rings, but we could put beauty rings on it. Again, not really a rally guy. I actually like these wheels better, so maybe we'll put those tires on these wheels because those tires are way too small, and that one's shot, and those Coopers are super outdated. I should get the rollback out or the skid steer and hook onto that bumper and give her a little. Oh, I guess somebody's ready to go for a ride. Me too, it's quitting time anyway. I did notice this thing's pretty whammied up, but maybe we can knock it down and pull it out, but I don't think so. And also it's not latching on this side, so I think something's a little gummy in the linkage. Also figured out when we cleaned out the bed that somebody put a fuel pump in it. Look at this, they made a little hinge. They didn't cut her all the way through and got her to flip up right there. I don't know if these screws are really holding her shut, but they're there. And guess what? They got it right on the first shot. A lot of times you'll see that they had to make the hole bigger, or they completely whiffed and had to get in a different spot. I'm a fan of pulling the bed off to replace fuel pumps, but I guess whatever works.
So much quieter.
This is a new one. I've never had a door pin completely fall out. The door was always latching fine and it didn't want to latch. I'm like, what the heck's going on here? So I lifted up the door and it shut, but as it was shut, I heard a ka-tink. Oh yeah, our top hinge fell completely out. So now we got to find that. I see it down in the dog leg. Come to Papa. Oh, don't be made. What? What are you made out of that is not magnetic? For cheese and rice. Aluminum door pins? All right, needle nose to the rescue. What the heck? It ain't aluminum, must be stainless. I guess just a little bit of tension. Me wiggling around must have wiggled it out. Much better. I can't believe that door shut so good. That's why the door panels are always shot in these, because nobody ever puts door pins in them in time. Fire's right up. Can't even hear that crack in the manifold. All right, it's quieter. The brakes probably are better. They should be. It's gonna hold fluid anyway. Might have some air in it. So quiet. Now we just need to do a little cleaning of the inside and get the radio hooked up. When you get on it, you can hear a little bit of an exhaust leak. I think it needs those donuts, and because the exhaust sagged down and was vibrating, and donuts ain't meant to move, they're meant to seal up one time. So price and availability in the video description on this thing. Let's buckle up for safety. I originally bought this thing for parts, but I think it's too good to be a parts rig. Oh yeah, it needs gaskets. It took the whoopty out of it, but it rides rough, and I think that's because of them silly little tires on the front. We'll see. Maybe it'll go to alignment on Monday and they'll be like, no, we can't, you gotta put ball joints in, but who knows. Yeah, she pulls pretty good to the right. But anyway, price and availability in the video description. This thing, I think, you know, it needs a few things like I've talked about in the video, but it's all stuff that the average guy can do. Throw some exhaust gaskets in it. You're probably gonna have to hire somebody to put a windshield in it. I mean, it's bad. It's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's got all the cracks. I mean, it's unsafe if you ask a peace officer, I'm sure, but tranny seems to work fine. Engine runs good. Gauges all work. Interior is really nice in it. I don't think, I mean, do a little patching on the bed, find some different fenders, especially the right front, that is shot. You could scab some cab corners and rockers in this thing, and it probably wouldn't be pretty respectable. Give it a homegrown paint job. I've never seen a 94 flake this bad. I thought that was like the 88 to 90s, but anyway. Yeah, and it's still got a V8, so I mean, you could pull dirt bikes around. I mean, there's guys, I know guys that pull car trailers with 305s. You can do it. Take it out overdrive according to the sticker. But yeah, these pickups are so good. If nobody buys it, we'll maybe bomb it around as a shop truck or whatever. You gotta remember, this thing's what, a 31-year-old pickup now? So I mean, it's no spring chicken. It's gonna need tires. That price in the video description, it'll come with those rally wheels on it. We'll keep these wheels, and then you'll get some new tires with it and the alignments. No extra charge. And if we find out it needs some parts from the alignments, we'll probably throw those in there for you too. Maybe even install. But anyway, this would be one of them things you could fly in, pick her up, cruise her home. It's a pretty decent pickup. No cruise? Dang it. Thought it worked. Yeah, no cruise control. Dang it. Which, it's pretty common on these. It's the wires in that multi-function switch. Hardest part about swapping that out is fishing them through the steering column. Which, if you're like me and you're lazy, you just run them outside the steering column. That's what I did in the old 92, and it's just fine. I think that switch was like 40 bucks, something like that. Worth it to have cruise control if you're driving it a bunch. And maybe it's just a fuse or a bad connector or the brake pedal switch. Hard to say. We did not check to see if the brake lights worked because it's kind of a two-person job, and I didn't have a second person. I know you could turn the lights off or use a mirror or wedge something between the seat and the brake pedal, but I figure we ain't stopping, so who cares? Blower motor works. All right, Duff, let's get crazy. Let's try the AC. The sun is pretty powerful today. Blend, all that stuff's working. Hit the AC, see what happens. Whoa! No way it works. Yeah, I don't think the AC is working. Probably needs a charge, and you know what that means? Everybody's like, oh, it just needs to be charged up. It's like, yeah, every AC system that doesn't work needs to be charged up because it's probably got a leak. So, who knows what it is. Anyway, AC does not work. I will disclose that right now. She don't drive too awful bad. Like I said, it's a little bit rough, and I think it's because of those small tires up front, but maybe it's how they lowered it in the front by cutting coils or whatever they did up front. I've definitely driven worse. I kind of want to throw some tires on and try it, but also I don't want to ruin some perfectly good tires by driving a vehicle out of alignment, because I'm guilty of doing that before. Wind noise, it's actually really good because the wind is super bad today. It should be a cross wind, and I don't hear anything breezing here. There's a good bump right over the top of it. We fixed up the notch. We got shocks in the back. We got a brake line on it. Oh, the exhaust. This thing's way better. Needs door pins. I actually have door pins on hand because every one of these pickups needs them, so we'll throw those in if you buy this thing as well. So hit us up. Price and availability in the video description. It's right down here. We'll also put it at mortske.com, vehicles for sale. So yeah, if you want to own this thing, hit us up, mortskerepair@gmail.com. Go check the price first. Don't message me and be like, what's the price? It's listed right there. You can see it. I'll just put it out there. 2,000 bucks. That's what I want for this thing. I figured, you know, we paid 600 bucks, got some time into getting it. Wheels and tires, you know, I got 100 bucks into the wheels, and the tires I probably got 100 bucks a piece into. Well, I bet more than that. We'll say 500 bucks in the tires. So 600 bucks. It's 1,200 bucks. 1,350 with the shocks. $175 battery, so that's 14, 15, 25. I am getting nothing for my time. Oh yeah, we put that leaf spring back there. I never checked to see if it sits level. It must not be too bad because I didn't notice it. So anyway, yeah, not gonna make a killing on this one. We got some brake fluid in it, some tranny fluid. Yeah, and we're throwing door pins in with it. Yeah, not making any money on this thing, but whatever. Get it out of our way because it's just gonna cost me more money. Oh, then we're gonna have 70 bucks into an alignment, 80 bucks. Not making any money. I'm not throwing a windshield in it. You gotta figure out your windshield on your own. But yeah, she cruises down the road 70 miles an hour. No problemo. Put Duff right to sleep just about, didn't it, Duff? Yeah, she's a good rig. So I don't know, you know, you could buy these things for 600 bucks, but it needs all the things that I talked about. And so, I mean, where are you gonna find a better pickup for 2,000 bucks? They're probably out there, but you really gotta shop around. Would I pay 2,000 bucks for this thing? No, because I don't need one. But also, if somebody doesn't buy it, we'll probably end up putting it out back and just stealing parts off it, unfortunately. But remind me to steal the shocks off it, even though I'll probably never need them. I really hope this thing sells, because I don't need it. And yeah, no trades. The guy who keeps messaging me about his 03 Yukon that wants to trade, no, I don't want that either. Even though that would probably be an upgrade, but don't want it. No trades. Cash only. Fly in, bring some cash, take it out of my life, or show up with a pickup and trailer. That's the way to do it. Same way that I picked this up. Or show up with your rollback, I guess, or cash. I don't know why everybody's got a... Can I electronically send you the money? No. You gotta come get it anyway, so bring cash. Cash is king, right, Duff? Yeah. Oh, here's a good one. Will we bottom out? Nope. Would like to throw those wheels and tires on it and see if they rub, though. Maybe that's why he's got those tiny wheels and tires on it. I doubt it. But you never know. We got, I think, two 3570s on the front of my little black 92 short bed. They don't rub, so I don't know why you couldn't do the same on this thing. Maybe it's lower. Doesn't seem like it. So the reason I think it's the tires that's causing it to ride rough is sidewall. The more sidewall you got, obviously that tire is made out of rubber, so it's gonna go, I don't know, it's gonna cushion your ride. Should we try to do a burnout, Duff? Do you think? The 92 doesn't do that good of burnouts, so I doubt this thing with a 305 come alive will do a burnout. But anyway, the more sidewall you got, the better it's gonna ride. And then obviously a 10 ply is gonna ride rougher than a 6 ply. Here we go. Shouldn't have done that. Rear end just spun.
I don't think the disc can rotate anyway.
Oh, can we back up and get it to go back the other way? Oh, that was bad. That was real bad. Uh-oh, Duff. I screwed up. I gotta look at this. Ah! And we're a long ways from home. We can't just limp her back. And I just saw Bobber drive by the wrong direction. Oh, that was so dumb. I wonder if holding the brake and going in reverse will tip it the right way. Hold on, Duff. It doesn't to be, so add that to the list. It needs to get the right saddles underneath the rear end so that when you try to do a burnout, it doesn't tip down. I don't know if I got it tipped back up doing reverse, my attempt at that, or if it's still bad, but we'll wait for this car to go by and then we'll see if it works, and then we'll try doing it in reverse again. Oh, I think it's better. I did chirp the tire a little bit. There's a little black mark there. Don't try this at home, kids. Oh, there, she definitely rotated. Oh, and then it drops down. Oh, this is so bad. Oh, I'm an idiot. Poor decisions were made. I cranked those things down pretty hard, I thought. Hopefully it doesn't shell the drive shaft out the bottom. Because that other pickup didn't have a drive shaft, and it's a long bed regular cab, so it would have been different anyway. But, oh, I'm so scared. We're doing 15 mile an hour. Anyway, here we go. Silliness! Oh, the stuff you see on this channel. I don't want to go faster because if it's bad, it's going to be real bad. Punk the drive shaft out. Duff, I don't want any attention right now. I'm sorry. No love. Go hang out here. I'll roll down the window. That'll deter you. Look, what's out there, Duff? What's out there? Go look. There you go. Ooh. We got a bad vibration. Weird. Ah! So silly. Who is gonna come get us? So yeah, that's the problem with flip kits. Man, I guess, you know, when you got a round bolt and a round rear end, doesn't matter how hard you clamp it, it's gonna be not good. We must have got her pretty close to start off, because yeah, it drove really good. Now we're doing 25 mile an hour and I can feel a pretty good vibration. Maybe it'll come out of it. I don't know. Silliness, Duff. I blame it on you for encouraging me to do a burnout. Please don't huck the drive shaft. We're like, oh man, how far are we from home? We're like 8 miles from home. It's a ways. It's a long ways to limp it. We're up to 35 though. I think we're good. We're just gonna hammer down. Probably need to fix that. Don't worry. Before you buy it, I'll fix it. Cripes, I'm terrible at selling things. I'm glad I figured it out instead of selling it to some kid and they go and try to do a burnout. And then they're like, Mortske sold me a pickup and it hucked the rear end right out of it the first time I tried doing a burnout. Yeah, we definitely need to bring it back in the shop and set the pinion angle and then either weld. Ooh, that's what we should do, Duff. We should just get some regular saddles and put on there, set the pinion angle, and then just weld them in there and not use those silly saddles that they send with the foot kit. That's what we'll do. Probably not on this video because we're kind of running out of time. I gotta go pick up some cars tomorrow. Mopars. Stay tuned. 70 Roadrunners. Big blocks. 4-speed, singular. One's an automatic car. One's factory purple, and the other is factory orange. The Mopar Madman's going with. He's the one who found him. He's the one who knows the things. And he said the one had a factory wing thing on it. I don't know. They're rough, but they were what I could afford because Mopar things and muscle car things means expensive. Anyway, I'm gonna limp this thing back. Hopefully, if not, I'll let you guys know what happens. We're almost doing 40 mile an hour, and yeah, we'll catch you guys on the next one. Thank you very much for watching. I appreciate all you guys. This wasn't supposed to be the video this week, but I brought this thing home and I was like, this thing's awesome. And you could tell in a week how much I was like, this thing's awesome. And now I'm like, oh, this thing needs to go away so bad. It's actually a really good pickup, but I don't know. I like the OBS's. Sometimes they do well for content, other times they don't. We really need to either move some vehicles or get some views. Otherwise, Shane and I are gonna have to get real jobs or start doing customer work, and neither of which do I want to do. So anyway, go check out the cars for sale because we got to move some vehicles. The weather's nice, so if you're a long ways away, you don't have to worry about the weather. You can show up and bring a trailer and pick them up. But thank you very much for watching. OBS's, they're great until they're not, unless they're not. I don't know. Remember, it doesn't matter how you get it done, as long as you're having fun. And this is fun. I don't think I've ever goosted and spun a rear end in the saddles. So yeah, we got a story to tell. We haven't got passed by a car yet. We got one coming behind us. He's gonna pass us, definitely. Anyway, it's a nice day to enjoy the drive. Oh, that guy's license plate said harvested. Personalized plates are cool. Comment down below with what you think we should put on this baby for license plates. Alright, on to the next one. Oh, we made it home and our door pin fell out. Did it fall out on the road? Oh, no, it's back down there again though. Well, that right there is a problem. Those two should kind of be in line a little bit. Chewed up the bolt heads on our yoke clamp a bit as well. And you can see what was probably making the noise. We'll take these U-bolts loose on both sides, take these saddles out of there, clean up that area on the axle tube, and throw some new pieces in there, and then we'll get her set in place, and Duff will weld it in. Yeah, good as new. That's a new one. Ouch. Don't do burnouts, please. Clean up our axle tubes and our saddles as best as I could. Tech tip of the day, clean that stuff up when the leaf springs are out when you're replacing leaf springs. But anyway, we're gonna set this on the ground because you gotta have it at ride height. And then we're gonna set our pinion angle between 3 and 5 degrees, whatever you like. Go with 7, I don't care. And then we're gonna lift it back up so it's easier to weld and burn it in place. And we'll take it for a test drive. Got our pinion set to 4 degrees, got her burned in. I'm gonna go ahead and see if I can find some new bolts for this for the next guy, or for me if I ever get to that point, so that somebody isn't cursing at me or I'm cursing at myself. And then we'll be ready to take this for a test drive. There we go, fresh bolts and straps, courtesy of our donor rig. Well, 2 of the bolts anyway, I just ground up 2 more. Are you ready to go on a RIDE? Yeah. You're getting good at this spelling stuff, ain't you? All right, let's do this. Well, that'll do, pig. Oh, that'll do.
That'll do, pig. That'll do.
All right, this thing should be a lot closer to being able to drive home for you or somebody else, except for the silly door pin part, but I'm not fixing that in this video. 65 miles an hour, she goes down the road like a dream, don't she, Duff? No vibration, no shaking, no banging, no clanging. Ready for the new owner. Tell him to buy donuts. No, not the sugary kind, the exhaust kind. And that windshield is kind of annoying, but it's not so bad. I look right above the crack. Duff says don't do crack, kids. All right, back to work. I got a couple engines I gotta go pick up and some used oil, and it's another gorgeous day, so let's go jump in the rollback and do some rollback things and pick up some junk. I just found out about one. I think it's a 403 Oldsmobile that a derby car guy is pulling out. He gave me a shout out, said, hey, you interested in this thing? And I said, yeah, 403 Oldsmobiles. I got a soft spot in my heart for those things. I think they only made them from 77 to 79. They're not, it wasn't ideal times for engine horsepowers, but they're kind of a neat engine. Unfortunately, they're smog era, but they're big cubic inches. So we're gonna go pick those up. And then I think we got some 6-cylinders, maybe like a 216 or a 235. I think it's a 216, and then I think it's a GMC, a 248 or 270 inline, and maybe some other parts from that, and a total oil for some heat, even though it's warming up. You gotta pick that stuff up while you can, because it's harder and harder to find used oil. Both of them are my buddies, and so we're gonna head over there and pick that stuff up. We're gonna go for an RIDE, hey Duff? Yeah, let's do it. Oh, and we mounted up some 20-inch tires for a customer last night. That's what took up our time, wasn't it? So we're gonna use a couple of those to throw some engines on, I think. Right? Right. All right, there's a GMC. There we go, 2/3 of a total oil, a random Oldsmobile that I didn't plan on buying, a GMC, and we gotta get some real nasty 20-inch GM chrome wheels. I didn't really need them, but the price was right. Oh yeah, YouTube content city right here. What are you doing? Are you walking already? Oh, is that one yours?
No. Here to go.
All right, we got the 403 loaded up. Cruise home, get some lunch. No ice cream stops on the way though. Might as well take the back roads. It's a nice day, huh? Well, we made her home. Let's see what we got. So I got 3 20-inch tires that I brought with to set engines on, but everything pretty much had a pallet. That's a 248 or a 270 GMC inline 6. It appears to be locked up. We'll determine if it isn't or isn't. We'll get some parts off it if nothing else. I got these super crusty 20s. I don't know what we're gonna do with those, but hopefully they make good rollers. Those are a GM bolt pattern, came off an SUV. Whole bunch of free heat that isn't free. We got the diff out of that same GMC and the wheels off of it. Those are 16s, so we can take some late model tires and make rollers. He's kind of curled up in here, but we got Duff, a new friend. This is Jake or Jackie. We don't know what he's gonna identify as, but we got ourselves a shop cat. Stay tuned for how that goes. I think this is a 350 Oldsmobile, but it's got the turbo 400 with the BOP pattern, and that is a 403 Oldsmobile. So they stole the 400 off of that, so now we got a 400 to put behind it. Why do I need a 403? I really don't, but I got one, so that's what we got. I didn't expect to get a cat, but my buddy's place was on the way and I knew he had some oil, so I picked up some oil from him, and he's like, hey, do you want a cat? And I'm like, you know, Duff could use a friend. And we got kind of a mouse problem around here with all the old cars, so hopefully Jake gets rid of some cats. Jack. He said his name was Blackjack, but they didn't know if it was a girl or a guy. I said, can we just call him Jack or Jackie? He said, sure. All right, we'll get this stuff unloaded and get back to work on the OBS. All right, let's get the rest of this rollback unloaded so we can get back to work. We already got the 403 off there. Mojo's gonna throw her on the run stand, see if it's any good. You know how to work on Oldsmobiles?
I'll learn.
You'll learn, all right. Duff says we got work to do. Take the Oldsmobile off first, set it up by the shop just in case we need some Oldsmobile parts while Mojo's working on that one. Honestly, I think this one we're gonna steal the transmission off of it. Maybe open up the engine, see what's in there, or run the numbers, see what it is. But I think for the most part, this thing is just gonna be parts, core, scrap, donor. I don't know what we're gonna do with the GMC. Probably do a little inspection, tear down. If it's loose, we'll try to get it running. If not, it might be scrap as well. Steal a couple parts, distributor, carburetor. The super cool valve cover. But yeah, 3-speed ain't worth nothing. I don't know if these got insert bearings or Babbitts. If it's got Babbitt, it's junk. Oh, save the starter, of course. So, haven't seen Jack since last night. There is a bald eagle flying around. Oh, let's not bend up their cage too much. They were very concerned that they got their cage back. Anyway, long story short, I don't know if Jackie Chan, Jackie Kennedy is still with us. Stash the oil away with the oil collection. Hopefully we don't need to burn a bunch more oil this winter. Alright. One last torque tube differential to unload. And we can carry on with our lives. 75 degrees today, I think. Did we get it? Did we get it? We got it. How handy is having a skid steer? Handier than a shirt with pockets. Speaking of shirts with pockets, go to mortske.com. Check out the Mojo Craft Pocket Tee. In stock and available at mortske.com. Is that gonna fit under there? Probably not. Now I just gotta unload a couple of crappy old tires that I didn't need to bring with on the trip and deliver a cage back and find Jack. Go look for Jackie Chan, would you? I was gonna have you guys give us solid name recommendations for the cat, but if the cat is no longer around, I don't think we need cat names. Maybe we're just not cat people, Duff. There should be plenty of mice in the yard for him to chase. I'm sure he's fine. Ready?
Yep.
Somebody unhook your throttle linkage.
Well, we don't want it.
We don't want it. Turn it off and they stop. Means they're tight, right, Mojo?
Yep.
Now what? Should a guy go to hook up the radiator hoses and put coolant to it and run it for a bit just to make sure it don't heat, and then a guy could then do compression check and pressure wash it and tear it all down? Maybe before you do anything.
Let's check off that engine.
Yeah, see if it's doing. Then maybe our vacuum advance ain't working, or maybe we don't have vacuum. We're gonna throw some radiator hoses on it, coolant, hook up the electric fan, block off these heater hoses, put some heat into it, and then we'll do a compression check to make sure it's good. Hook up our oil pressure gauge to make sure we got good oil pressure, and our temp gauge to keep an eye on that. And then we're also gonna open up the distributor and make sure our vacuum advance and our centrifugal advance are both functioning properly, because it seems a little bit lazy. Actually, that Quaterbog seems like it's functioning pretty well. So yeah, a lot of vacuum hoses. We plugged that port, there's one up there, power brake one. So yeah, there was a lot of those, but it seems like she runs okay. No blow by, so that's a plus. We'll break her in a little bit and see what she does. This thing only had 98,000. Looks like the cap was replaced. Everything looks pretty decent in there. Yeah. It's got a standard ignition products HEI module, so that's been replaced. Is our centrifugal advance working? Sure enough. And we just got to make sure our vacuum advance is working and call her good. They must have bumped the distributor, taking it in or out. The timing was off quite a ways. Well, we got her up to 180. I assume that's where the thermostat opens. It idles at about 30 psi oil pressure and goes up when you rev it up. Look at that, no blow-by. That means we don't got to put rings in it. And you did test the vacuum advance, and it's not working, so we got to get a vacuum advance canister.
You gotta get it back in advance.
So he hooked his vacuum squeezer up to it, and it didn't do squeezer things. All right, well, I guess take her outside and pressure wash it off. Once it cools off, we'll rip her apart, throw some gaskets and seals in it, and paint her all up.